Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy the Hungry Hornet. Welcome to another glorious video. Today we are talking about the limits of motorcycling. We're looking at the idea that obviously I think a lot of people see motorcycling as quite a limited pastime, in the sense that you're limited by the weather, you're limited by comfortability, and you're limited by the restrictions of motorcycling. So a lot has always been said about how motorcycling can restrict you in certain areas, and people might even say, oh, maybe it's time for you to get a car. You want to do that? Oh, you're going to go get a car. Now I believe we firmly debunk those theories on this channel regularly. If you look at the content that we've put out, in the past year, a lot of it is us doing things on a motorcycle that most people probably wouldn't, like travelling to London, travelling to Paris, travelling to Wales, travelling to all sorts of places. And that's due to obviously the idea that you're only as limited by your form of transport as your mind allows you to be. If done correctly, it can be one of the most liberating things you could do with your life. If done correctly, you're not limited or hamstrung by the fact you're on two wheels. If anything, you're freed because you're on two wheels. You've got more freedom because you're on two wheels. A lot has always been said about how motorcycling is restrictive, in the sense that you can't go out when it's Baltic outside, or when it's raining, or when it's downpours it's difficult, and blah blah blah. There's always a lot to be said about the restrictions of motorcycling, but never much to be said about the freedom. Now for a lot of people, the freedom of a motorcycle means being able to just hop on, crank it up, make sure you're fully geared up, and then you leave and you ride. And it's akin to riding a horse. You're there, you're riding your valiant steed, you're tackling the highway, you're tackling the twisties, you're tackling everything you possibly can, and you're doing the best you can on a set of two wheels. That's what true motorcycling is. And once you start to realize the freedom that it does allow you, you'll look past the restrictions that society and the general public seem to think hold true to motorcycling. For instance, a lot of people will just assume because you're on a motorcycle you can't go somewhere, and as I said, we have firmly debunked that idea on this channel by going every single place you can possibly think of, because that's just what we do. The whole idea of this channel, and by we I mean me, the whole idea of this channel, I show you the possibilities of what riding on two wheels can mean. Because some people it might be easier and cheaper for them to pass a motorcycle test so they can go and explore. Motorcycle tests tend to be available more often than car tests. There's less of a backlog, so you can get on two wheels as quickly as you can, as quickly as your ability will allow. And before you know it, you've got your ticket to freedom. When it's summer, sun's out, you think, oh crikey, I'm going out on the bike. There's nothing better than sticking on your helmet, sticking on your summer gloves, sticking on your summer jacket, and off you go to the races. Off you go to the races. You're a part of it, you're in it, and you're firmly doing what I call God's work on your bike. Because that's what, the restrictions on motorcycling tend to only rear their ugly head during the winter. The winter tends to be the time when people seem to start to realise, oh wait a minute, it's, if I had a car, I wouldn't be putting myself in so much bloody danger. And that is true. I mean, a couple of weeks ago we ended up having to go out in the ice on this channel, and it's not nice, and I would not advocate that normally. However, I'm not going to allow what the restrictions that people put upon us, the restrictions that people say, and assume that are in place, to affect how I, get to work. At the end of the day, you follow safe motorcycle riding practices, you will be safe all year round. Bar obviously the you know, the unavoidable, like let's say someone else is unsafe on the road and causes you harm. That can't be avoided no matter how many shoulder checks you do. You know, if someone goes into the back of you at 70 miles an hour, that's it, isn't it? You know, and that's the sad state of what could possibly happen to you if you are on a motorcycle and you know, you're hit. You know, I'm firmly of the belief that what makes motorcycling so great is the fact that there's an element of it could possibly go so terribly wrong. Now, I'm not a thrill seeker by any means. I'm not a person that, you know, looks to sort of get a thrill out of, like, you know, cheating death. But there's something to be said about, you know, racking up thousands and tens of thousands of miles on a motorbike, enjoying the scenery, enjoying everything safely, and knowing that you are doing your damn best to be an upstanding, you know, motorcycle rider. Now, you know, a lot of waffling on this video, to be fair, but it's more of a sort of motivational video, I guess, is that, you know, there is no restriction to motorcycling. The only restriction is the restrictions you allow to, you know, run rampant in your mind on a daily basis. The only restrictions is the restrictions you allow to be true. You know, you're just as, you know, you're less restricted. You can cut through traffic, and, you know, if there's a standstill, you can filter. You can hopefully get out of the way of danger quicker. You can enjoy. You got a better quality of life in the sense of, in the summer, you're absolutely enjoying it. You can smell everything, you can see everything, you touch everything, you feel everything on a bike. You feel it. And every day that you're on a motorcycle is a day you're feeling what life is all about. And that is the true epitome of an unrestricted view on the world. It gives you a whole new view on it, you know. And yeah, you may be tired, yeah, you may be sore, you may be wet after a long journey, but bloody hell, did you not have a good time? If you take your final breath one day, or when you take your final breath one day, and your life flashes before your eyes, and you see that your loved ones and the people who have meant everything to you in your life, and the people that have meant so much to you in your life, people that have impacted you so much in your life, I guarantee you, if you're a motorcyclist, you'll also see flitters and flutters and glimpses of the things you've seen on two wheels, the moments you've experienced of serenity and the beauty that you have behold upon on a daily basis, riding your bike and exploring the world on two wheels. That is an incredible achievement. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I've been the Hungry Hornet. You've been incredible. Until next time, remember to keep exploring and release the shackles of your mind and see motorcycling for what it is. And that's the secret to true freedom.